Hey guys, Everseen here. So today I want to go over basically how I've crafted all of my gear in HCSSF and how I keep crafting like really insane pieces of gear. This is after like the loot buffs and everything, so now you can find like tiered items on the ground which have really good modifiers. But even so, I haven't really been using too many tiered modifier items like the tier 2, tier 3 items that you'd find on the ground that are unidentified. I'm just using basic crafting where like you're trying to target farm some mods and just hope you get a high tier and then recombinate them onto other bases. So basically, I've been playing a Blood Mage. I'm in HCSSF this league in Dawn of the Hunt. I'm almost level 96, and I've crafted some insane pieces of gear, and I just want to show them real quick, and then we'll get into how I've crafted them, because I basically crafted all of my gear from Recombinators this league, and some of these pieces of gear could, even in like the early stages of trade and stuff, be like extremely valuable to a lot of people. So for one example, I'm using it, like Blood Mage, so I want like a hybrid build. So basically for my helmet, I was going for flat energy shield, percentage energy shield, or a high tier life. Basically, I did a percentage energy shield and a high tier life together as a Recombinator, and then I exalted to finish, and I ended up with something like this. I did hit life regen instead of the crit chance, but I omen of whittling the item to finish off the suffixes, and I ended up with something like this, which is extremely good for Blood Mage because I actually do value that crit chance quite a lot. Another item that I've done, which is a simpler item, but does take quite a bit of, gambling from Alva to do amulets to try and get certain amulets with certain modifiers, but I basically did like a tier 7 max life roll with a tier 2 percentage increased maximum life roll, hit the Recombinator, and then exalted to finish, and I ended up with something like this, which is actually really good, especially with the life catalysts. It actually goes from 6% increased max life to 7% increased max life, so I'm getting quite a bit of life just from this amulet alone, almost 300 life, or over 300 life, I think, and yeah. This Amethyst Ring was also a really good Recombinate. I was trying to do lightning damage to attacks, flat roll with chaos resistance. Now, these are both pretty rare modifiers, so it's not super easy to get them to work, but if you do end up getting it to work, then you get something like this, where I got pretty lucky with the fire res, and I actually plan on whittling this later. I'll whittle off that evasion, hopefully getting a better, cold damage, fire damage to attacks, anything like that, because that it contributes to my bleed magnitude, or high tier life would be really good. I would actually rather the flat damage rolls over the life because I already have tons of life. Another one too is this prismatic ring, so same thing. Like I'm pretty sure I did lightning damage to attacks and one of those resistances, or I did it with the strength. I think I needed strength on my character at the time, so I was like, I'm just going to, basically because I did this, the lightning damage to attacks roll was on another ring, which was actually terrible. Like, all of the other modifiers were terrible, but the cool thing about Recombinators is that if you can actually manage to move this modifier onto an item with another modifier, you have 4 more chances at new modifiers to get on an item, right? So I ended up exalting and hitting like fire res and chaos res, which this ring is better than any amethyst ring I've had so far. So really cool to get something like this just off of recycling gear, and that's pretty much the whole premise of like what I'm trying to get at with Recombinators in reference to SSF, is like you're just recycling tons of gear and you're like hoarding tons of bases to hopefully, once you can finally hit an item like this sort of thing, or like even this body armor. I think I started out with percentage evasion and energy shield, and I recombinated it with the T12 life. I think it was like a 1 in like 8 chance or something to hit. It was like 18% chance or something like that, so it wasn't that bad. And then I just exalted to finish, and same thing here. I whittlinged something else. I think it was life regen, actually, like coincidentally with that other item, but I ended up hitting 15 lightning resistance, corrupted it, decided this was good enough. So this is an insane chess piece for SSF, but this last league would have taken you so much time to get, but now with Recombinators, man, like this gear, it's really not that bad. I've got like a whole tab here of like GG gear, where like I have also like some other pieces with similar sort of outcomes. So this one's pretty decent too. Like my prefixes, I have the flat, the percent, the flat life. This one I have, the flat life is 189. I've got high tier percentage and flat with a 30% lightning resistance. This one you could also omen of whittling, get rid of this attribute requirements. So yeah, like 438 energy shield and almost 1200 evasion on a body armor is like really, really good. Yeah, and I've hit other items like, you know, boots are a really cool, and easy thing to craft as well. I actually was recording not too long ago, and I ended up using all of my materials and like did a bunch of examples. So today I'm just going to do examples of like the chest piece, because I have like tons of these laying around as well. We'll just grab a bunch of these sleek jackets, and then we'll try and smash a bunch together, see what we can kind of end up with. But yeah, I ended up crafting these boots when I was recording, but I didn't have any audio, so it kind of flubbed on me. But I started out with 30% move speed and the health, and then I just exalted to finish the rest of it. So these are like really good entry-level boots, especially if you're just getting into like maps and stuff. So, you know, Recombinator is really good. Obviously, you get to farm Expedition. You got to farm these artifacts. Remember that if you're doing Expedition and you have logbooks for, say, Danig, so Sun, I believe is what it's called. Yeah, Knights of the Sun. Those artifacts, the Sun artifacts, for every one artifact for Sun, it is 2 order artifacts. So if you really want to like use those, I've basically been converting all of mine to order artifacts because I do so many Recombinators that, you know, it just makes sense. So yeah, we'll just take these and try and mash them together. Basically what I was looking for, right, is the percentage energy shield and the maximum life. It's actually a 30% chance. Quite crazy to think that that's actually 30%. I mean, these are pretty high tier modifiers. Remember, the higher tier modifiers that you go, the less chances you're going to have at success. But something like this is actually a pretty good chance, but it ended up failing. So the whole premise, though, is that you want to hoard all of these bases, right? Like, you want to hoard so many of these sleek jackets. Like, I have so many here of, you know, the same sort of modifiers that I'm looking for, where if I lose one, it's no big deal because you just rinse and repeat, you go again. Here, we'll try this one. You might not be looking for the life for your build, so maybe you'd want the percentage and just the flat. It's a 20%, 1 in 5. It's actually a pretty good chance. Boom. That is already a decent chest. And then what I would do is I would grab like a bunch of these Omens of Exaltation, and then you can save a few exalts when you're actually like trying to finish it. And you can also try and hit a fracture if you wanted. So this one I actually hit 2 like pretty, they're low tier suffixes, but they're okay. And then here we'll try again, and we ended up hitting Thorns damage. So this one's kind of like this is like more of an entry level one, but it's like nice enough where like I don't know if I'd want to brick it per se, right? So like I'll just throw that somewhere for now, and we'll keep trying. So another thing about Recombinators is that if you're looking to use different bases, generally what's going to happen is that it's going to keep the base with the higher tier modifiers. So this one's T12 life, so I'm expecting that the sleek jacket is going to win and the falconer's jacket is going to poof, but the modifiers will, like, you know, obviously go into the sleek jacket. 30% chance, we end up hitting it, and yeah, like, it's the sleek jacket because we knew that was going to happen. There, Omen of Exaltation, pretty garbage suffixes. We'll try it again. And we ended up hitting hybrid percent with life. Not the greatest outcome, but you know, this is the point that I'm trying to get across, is you're not going to hit this on like the first or the second or the third try. This is going to be like over 10 tries for Recombinators, right? So just keep farming, man. Like, it's really not that bad. And then if you're not satisfied with an item, you can even just take this and use it as recomb fodder again, right? So just hoard a ton of bases. Make sure you're using like things like the defense essence to like target one mod as a defense modifier. Like here, for example, I did that on that one, and my augment was a high tier fire resistance, so I'm waiting to get a greater defense essence to try and craft there. Yeah, you're basically just doing a lot of things, but you're trying to force as many opportunities as you possibly can, right? So I'm hoarding all the bases, I'm transmute auging them in my maps, or I'm using essences on them in my maps. Like if you're trying to do boots, like use the essence of haste, you know, try and get maybe go and do logbooks, level 82 logbooks. You're getting like the 82 boot bases, then you hit them with this for a chance at hitting 35% move speed, right? So basically you're just trying to force as many opportunities as you can. And in SSF, that is basically the whole premise of this, is you want to just force as many opportunities as possible. Let's try and hit a 5% recom just for the video. Didn't hit it. So yeah, we're gonna go for some different essences too on different pieces of gear. So like for breach rings, for example, I've been trying to hit like a high tier lightning damage roll, and I ended up hitting T8, but like kind of a low divine roll here. So I'm actually going to use this one as a Recombinator into another ring later. So that's kind of the idea. But yeah, you basically want to use like essences to try and guarantee modifiers. Of course, if you're using lightning, you can hit percentage lightning damage, flat lightning damage, lightning resistance, or all elemental resistance. So it's kind of hard to target, but some items like a defense on a chest piece or a defense on a helmet is going to guarantee you one of those defense rolls, and you could hit a high tier, which is really good. Another thing too is like if you're trying to target, you know, like strength for a warrior build, you're going to want to use like Essence of the Infinite to just give yourself a little bit more chance on these white bases that you're going to pick up on getting like the strength rolls, right? So another thing too is like Fizz you could use on weapons if you want. And also don't be shy of like waiting to do Recombinators and just buying stuff from the vendors themselves. They do have like really good bases sometimes, and you know the item level is obviously only going to be capped at 79, so you're going to miss out on really high tier modifiers. But for example, like this one, these gloves, like if they just had like 140 life, like just buy them, take them, and then use them for Recombinator later, because it's just going to make your life so much easier when you're just like grabbing the items versus like, you know, just bricking them. You know, last season obviously it was really hard to get really good items because we just didn't have an avenue of like mashing modifiers together. But now even if you get like an item like this where like I hit 30% move speed, I hit the life Recombinator, but look at the rest of it, it's completely garbage. So like all I gotta do is take that piece, and then I'm going to take say this other 30% move speed base, but I kind of want to keep it like the same type of base, so I'll go for quick slip shoes. And we'll go over the Recombinator, put them in. One's going to be 30%, one's going to be health. We got, you know, 1 and 4 basically to hit this. And unlucky, but that's what you do. And you just keep doing that and doing that. And I know it sucks to like delete items, but man, like some of these items, once you do finally hit it, it's such a good feeling. Like you'll get a huge, like these ones, for example. Like I actually didn't recombinate these. I actually found these with everything but the movement speed, and I exalted on 35 ms. Was very lucky with that. But yeah, like basically these gloves was like a huge Recombinator hit because the T9 flat lightning and the health modifier was a bit lower tier. I ended up doing a lower tier just so that I had a better chance at hitting, because this mod is actually quite rare, so it's going to, you know, like hurt your chances. So just remember that too, like if you're going for like a piece of gear, and it just depends on like the urgency of the tier of modifier you need. Like if you don't need as much life right now, like don't be afraid to just like put on like a T9 flat lightning with like a low tier life, and then just like work on an upgrade. At least you're going to, you're only going to be like out 50 life. Like say if I did this with like 60 life or something, it would be like a T4 life roll or something. With this, the chances are going to be pretty high. And then the other thing is too, is like when you do that, if you're carrying over like a high tier modifier, you could even just like do like, say I had another item that had like 7 dex, and I could just like do the lightning damage to attacks with the dex, have a super high chance, you smash them together, and then you have 4 more chances at getting decent modifiers. So you can hunt that way as well. That's also like another way. So the one way is like you can target 2 modifiers, like higher tiers that you want, or the other one is you can have 1 high tier modifier and 1 low tier modifier, smash them together, and then hope to exalt that other tier, like high tier modifier that you want on your item, right? So that's kind of how to progress in SSF. I know it sucks to hoard a bunch of bases and whatever, and you're just kind of like, your stashes look like shit like mine, and you're just hoarding all this gear, but trust me, it will pay off. You will get, you know, tons of good bases. Like I have tons of these chest pieces now with like T8 flat evasion, you know, T7 percentage evasion, and I just have good gear now that like I don't care about getting any more gear, but like I'm still hoarding stuff because I'm playing in hardcore, so if I die, I obviously want to go again with some stuff. But yeah, you just keep spamming, man. Keep spamming. Eventually you get some really good gear. Alrighty, so we talked a bit about recombinating, but I also want to show you like on the item filter side, if you are newer or don't know exactly what you're doing, go to FilterBlade. It's going to take you to PoE1 first, I think, and then you just go to this drop down, hit PoE2. FilterBlade is really nice. It's a very customizable way to do your loot filters without actually having to do all the code and stuff associated with it. So here's my list of PoE2 filters. Basically, I'm going to go to the Blood Mage one. I'm going to show you the bases that I have highlighted personally. You're going to go to Customize, and you go down here to highlight specific bases. This one I had Ornate Plate. I'm actually going to take that out of there. It was for the Smith and Katava build, and then I had Plate Belt. I also don't really care about this, so I'm just going to turn that rule off. I was doing Plate Belts to chance for Inferno class, but here is my list of items right now that I'm like pretty much hunting for and picking up, and like transmute auging and all that stuff, or essence spamming. Is going to be the Kamasan Tiara, which is the highest tier energy shield tiara. I've got Quick Slip Shoes, Val Wraps, Sleek Jacket, Falconer's Jacket. These are all evasion energy shield hybrid pieces. The Falconer's Jacket just has a nice 5% movement speed implicit, so if I ended up getting like a really, really good one, I would probably end up putting that on over Sleek Jacket, just because you get the 5% movement speed, and that's pretty valuable in PoE2. I've also got Life Flasks on here just because I'm trying to hunt for increased charges modifier on Life Flasks, because I'm using Concoct as well as Ambrosia on my build, which consumes like a percentage of your maximum charges on your flask to give you additional damage. So that's kind of the setup. And you can set it to normal, magic, rare. I just have normal and magic, because if either of these drop as normal, I'm going to use, like, I'm going to craft on it myself. It's blue, I'll identify it, augment it, whatever, throw it back on the ground kind of thing. But this is what you're going to do, and you're just going to keep checking things while you're mapping to sort of build up a base of tons of Recombinator materials, right? And then you're just going to use those Recombinator materials, and eventually you're going to get some pretty good pieces of gear. So that's about it, guys. I don't really have too much more to say about this. It's really pretty straightforward. The big key takeaways from this are, you know, don't try to go the highest tier modifiers available into each other. You're not going to have very good percentage chance. Definitely utilize, you know, if you're just trying to do life on a piece of gear, maybe do a low tier life with a high tier modifier just to get the chance at rolling the item over again. And just keep upgrading. That's the thing. Like right now at this point in my progression, you know, I'm nearing 96. I'm going for really high ticket Recombinators, right? So I am going for like those really high tier modifier recombs, but that's just because I'm at that point in the game, and I started out low is what I'm trying to say. I started out low. I worked up my gear, and you know, like this was my other piece of gear that I was using. I ended up getting lucky, but this was like a lightning damage to attacks and life recom. I think it was like a 20 to 30% chance, right? Like, because they're not like crazy high tier mods. It's a T5 into a T9. Like the life is sort of high tier, but and then I just hit a bunch of good exalts. Like just keep smashing things and then exalting tons of things. Now exalts drop like candy, so you know I've got like almost 300 in SSF. We're blasting. We're just exalting basically everything that we can now. So eventually you hit some really high tier modifiers, and whatever you hit, you can just shove in the Recombinator factory and spit out some good items. But yeah, guys, that's about it for the video. Hopefully I helped you guys a little bit, give you some perspective on basically the gear progression of my character, sort of what I've been doing that's been working for me. And yeah, cheers. Hopefully you guys can make some good items. Peace.